Right, good morning, everybody. Everybody hear me okay? Welcome. Welcome to the committee. I see some familiar faces. Thank you to the officers. And welcome to our first bunch of applicants. We have a lot to get through, so I now declare the Grants Allocation Committee Creative Community Scheme meeting open. I'm going to invite Tama Porter, one of our committee members, to read the council blessing. Tama's on Zoom. Tama, good morning.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Away you go.
As we deliberate on the issues before us, we trust that we will reflect positively on the communities we serve. Let us all seek to be effective and just, so that with courage, vision, and energy, we provide positive leadership in a spirit of harmony and compassion.
Thanks, Tama. I'm calling for apologies. I received an apology from Kim Tahiwi, our Māori representative on the committee. I also note that Councillor Glenn Cooper's on leave of absence, so he doesn't need to tender a formal apology, but we have been advised of that. And we've also been advised that Tama is attending by Zoom, so we see him there. So all those in favour of accepting that apology say aye. Oh, you need a mover and a shaker. Someone move that be accepted. Michelle, thank you. Thank you very much. Right, that is carried. Declarations of interest relating to items on the agenda. As chair, I'll bring item 6, members' business forward in the meeting to be dealt with now. Leave of absences. Are there any requests for a leave of absence? Are there any matters of an urgent nature? I hear none, so we'll leave that there.
Oh, sorry, Grant. I'm actually going to jump in there.
Yes, do.
I'm not sure if this comes under the definition of leave of absence, but I will need to be leaving the meeting at around 12:10, and I will come back at around 1:40 as I'm attending the protest, which is why I'm on Zoom. And as a declaration of conflict, I have one with the Otakari Pottery Club's. What is it? I can't see it here. Festival of Pots and Gardens, that's what it is.
So you're declaring an interest in the Otaki Pottery Club application, and you'll step out for their presentation and the discussion subsequently.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Shall I just leave the meeting for that, or just stop listening?
Up to you. You don't have a pecuniary interest in the Pottery Club application, do you? No, there's no money involved.
There potentially is, yeah. So I will leave the meeting.
Okay. I think that might be good.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Tama. All right. We now come to the public speaking time for our applicants. And the first applicant, Tama, is the Otaki Pottery Club. So this is the time for you to make a quick exit. How do we let you know you can come back? Or someone will ring you.
That works for me. I'm not sure. Or if someone just wants to flick me an email.
Yep.
Just pop them in the waiting room and then we'll let them back in.
Okay. All right.
You can listen.
Oh, you can listen. Listening is not participating. That's interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just mute myself and turn off my camera then.
Yep. Thanks, Tama. Yep. Right. Well, we now invite our first applicant, which is Mrs. Catherine Joyce Kellaway from the Otaki Pottery Club. Welcome, Catherine.
Kia ora. Thank you.
We have generously allowed only 5 minutes per applicant.
Yes.
So I do suggest you stick to new things because we've had your application and allow question time.
Right.
But can I just say, before you start, and I think this is important, that we have considerably more applications than we have funding available. So I'm letting applicants know that we have $15,220 for the festival fund, yet we have been asked for $34,692. So it's roughly half. So I'm just letting people know so we manage expectations. Catherine.
Tēnā koe for allowing us to present here today. So I'm assuming many of you have visited our spectacular Festival of the Pots and Garden Art in the gorgeous Anam Karam Gardens. This is 5 days of a real buzz, and it's created by 125 artists and drawing over 6,500 visitors from far and wide. This year, we had feedback from our fantastic festival goers, making suggestions on our demonstration and hands-on program. That sits within the festival, and those suggestions lead us to our funding request here today. Hope is to develop a free and sustainable demonstration hands-on program within the festival that can accommodate larger audience and make it more comfortable for our visitors. We're hoping to create an even more engaging and immersive festival experience for our visitors, and we hope to encourage them to stay longer and even come back on other days and enrich their time whilst they're at the festival. By creating, so I said in the application that it would include artist talks and the opportunity to make connections between artists and their work, giving artist demonstrations of their ceramic work on the wheel, inspiring and educating our visitors about ceramics and building a deeper appreciation for the craft. The wheel and hand building experience for tamariki and whānau, this is when they can really have a go and get their hands dirty. We feel by making these connections with the visitors through the program, it could ultimately feed back into our club, which is a community club, and in regard to people wanting to learn more and potentially attend classes and potential commissions for artists and visits to our Taupe Modern. So with your support in the 2025 festival, the demonstration and hands-on area will have a much larger marquee and expand further into the garden to accommodate this larger audience. We will have portable toilets in the area so the visitors don't have to walk all the way back into the indoor venue, and have more tables and chairs to allow extra participation. Water coolers for hydration, and we would like to produce a printed program of the event so that people can plan their visits to the festival based around what they are interested in experiencing, which we haven't had in the past. We haven't had a lot of those things in the past, so it's a real big development of this whole demonstration and hands-on experience. So this funding really expands the club's outreach to the Kapiti community. Yeah. So.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, another question to Catherine, but I should note, I should have earlier mentioned that Jennifer Turnbull also declared interest in this. She's in the room, which is fine, but just for the discussion, just for the record. So, questions for Catherine, anybody? It comes off. Questions for Catherine?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, Grant. Yeah. Catherine, thanks for that presentation. You're at the old Taki racecourse, and you're really entrenched in the community, and I really congratulate you for your interactive pottery. So how many people will be attending, do you think, this festival that you're going to run?
So last year we had 6,500, and they came from as far as New Plymouth, Palmerston North, South Island. We're now getting busloads that come up for the day. So the audience is constantly expanding.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really just for the one-day event, is it?
No, 5 days.
5 days, sorry.
5
yeah, okay,
days.
5 days.
And so the
6,000.
program would happen every day of the festival.
Yeah.
So the festival is primarily, exhibiting artists' work from the Kapiti coast and further afield. We always have guest artists that have a special exhibition within the indoor venue. But in regards to this is kind of adding a whole lovely level to the festival where people can come in, we have the cafe as well, so they can look through the festival, sit down, have some food, and then go, oh, I want to go and listen to this artist talk, or, I want to go and have a go at doing some pottery myself. you know, so it enriches, it's going to really enrich the experience. And it means that potentially people will stay a lot longer, or they'll come back in other days because they want to actually hear a specific artist talk about their work.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're also very famous for your interaction. You know, people can come in and get their hands dirty. And will there
Yeah.
be any of that going on too?
Oh,
or
absolutely.
Oh, great.
So every day
you can
there
make
is
your
a
own pot.
program in the morning and afternoon where families can come and have a go either on the wheel or hand build. Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Michelle?
Congratulations, I think it's fantastic, and unfortunately I have to endorse exactly what Grant said, there's not enough money for rehabilitation, so how bad is it if you don't get your full amount that you've asked for? How disastrous, I've read your proposal,
Yeah.
it's very clear.
Yeah. So I think what will be difficult for us to do will be to expand it in accordance with what they've requested, because basically we're taking everything up a notch.
Sure.
And then we wouldn't be able to have the things like the portable toilets. And so one of the ideas of this application is so that we can almost create a kit that we can then use in a future, you know, like in terms of the tables and chairs, for instance, so that we have a kit that annually we can reuse every year.
So could you approach, e.g., Farmlands or Mitre 10 or something like that, and seriously ask for sponsorship to help with areas like that?
Okay, so currently in our festival that's coming up, Matariki event, Starglaze, we have been successful in partnering with a new sponsor, and the idea is to build that relationship. So we're hoping that there is that possibility. It may not be able to happen to the degree we need it in 2025, but we're definitely working along those avenues and building that relationship.
And I have one more question. may I?
Yep, and then we'll wrap it up.
What's your massive attempt at publicity? How far are you going to go? You're going to do the TVNZ morning breakfast thing, which is really successful.
Yeah.
The TV3, etc.
The whole publicity machine is going to ramp up, isn't it, for 2025? And we have a budget, of course, for marketing and publicity, but I think the other thing to say here too is we are completely voluntary. Like, we're talking thousands of hours of work that goes into creating this festival every year from our members. And so that whole team has that marketing publicity team has just developed more and more and more, and they'll be putting together a pretty good thing. But also the other key thing with this that we've never done before is the program. So actually having a printed program of the events that we can distribute before the festival, and so that people can actually really coordinate their visit and say, well, I want to see that artist and that, you know, and I want to do that, and so I'm going to go on this day. Or they might come for a couple of days, you know, which we haven't had that before. So that's another added piece of marketing that we are hoping to do in 2025, yeah.
Catherine, one very last quick question, and I do say this kindly because I think you and your club are a tremendous success for Otaki. In membership terms, in facility terms, you run very successful events, more than the festival. Your financial information showed $57,000 surplus from the last festival. Do you need us, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We just about to have to
So-
buy a new kiln, and this is a major fundraising event for us.
Right.
A new kiln. You're probably looking about all of that money for a new kiln for our pottery club, and that'll take care of the members and also the 200 plus students that are part of our program, and we absolutely need that. So yeah.
So just to explain about where that money comes from, that surplus is can be directly associated with the member's time. So when you become a member, you have to do X amount of hours at the Festival of Pots. So if you don't do that time, there is a money value in that. So our membership would be a much larger amount, which will mean that it's not accessible to a lot of people. So it may be a surplus, but actually what it is our almost, it's like an extended membership. And that's what allows us to then do the maintenance on our building, do the kilns. I mean, kilns are hugely expensive, and develop that facility more and more. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cool.
All right, thank you for coming in.
Cool.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Sue,
Sue,
sorry.
I'm Vice President Pottery Club and co-convener of Festival of Pots and the Starglow. So Catherine's our right-hand person for doing all this part. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next person was to be Fernando. With his application, he can't attend. He apologises, saying that he was teaching at this time. And also Mr. Himiona Grace. Is he here? Is Mr. Grace here? No, right. So we haven't heard from Mr. Grace, so we'll take that as an apology. So the fourth application then for the festival fund is Mr. Chris Craddock. Chris.
Do I have to push it?
Chris, you've got two applications in front of us. You'll do the
Yeah.
festival one first,
Yes.
and then we'll ask you to talk to the other. Is that okay?
Yes, no, that's absolutely fine.
Thanks for coming.
Yes. So, yes, so the first one is for the special one-off festivals fund. And as you're aware, we've run the Kapiti Music Festival for the last 15 years, and we normally run it right through the month of May. And in actual fact, this coming weekend, we're actually kicking off in Campbell Park in Paipakakariki. And then also on Sunday, we're doing our annual Jazz in the Gardens at Marine Gardens in Raumati, which this group has helped for a number of years. But given the timing of the meeting, it wasn't going to fit. So therefore, when this was pointed out to us that there was a special fund, we thought we'd make a special effort on King's birthday weekend for a celebration to finish off May Music Month and the Kapiti Music Festival. So if you've got there in front of you, again, one day in McLean Park and then one day in Marine Gardens. And I've got a list of all of the artists there. And we look forward to your continued support of supporting our events here on the Kapiti Coast.
Right, you're back with us, Tama, aren't you? Yes? Here?
Yep,
You
I'm
can
here.
hear?
Got
Okay,
that.
sorry, yep. All right, questions for Chris for the festival?
Hi, Michelle.
Once again, Chris, well done. You've been slogging it for a long time, and I congratulate you. As you've heard, there's not enough money for everybody, and it's tough. I hate that word. God, I said it. It's so trendy. It's not tough. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
I do have one question in your budget, and that was your PA, which I thought was quite high compared to. I know what PAs cost, and I just thought it was a bit high. If that wasn't, I mean, I
Yeah.
get it, but it is quite high PA and backline.
Yeah, we've found that JPP comes in well under some of the other local ones here, and if we had to go to Wellington or pull in from Palmerston North or the local gentleman that's based here right in
I know who you're
Kapiti.
talking about, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and it's considerably more.
So who's JPP, may I ask, please?
JPP is a sound company based in the Horowhenua in Levin.
Who are they?
Oscar Price?
No, that's
No,
right.
don't know him?
No.
Okay.
Because it's just, you're asking for, what's your request? You were asking for 10, is that right?
Yes.
And it was just the area that yelled at me. Sorry, but it's,
Yeah, but as you know,
May
yes, some of those bands
I do.
require upwards 8 or 9 microphones. Yeah,
I know.
yeah, you're a
But
musician. Yeah.
that's right. But the other question for me personally is, have you ever considered to invest, because you're not going to give up. I know you're not.
Yeah.
But have you ever considered that as part of your package?
So we as a trust, actually, you're suggesting we could actually try and raise some funds
Yeah.
and actually try and buy
Yeah.
some of our own equipment.
Absolutely.
We haven't really considered that. So the actual trust doesn't actually hold any assets. We try to get the money from grants, and then we redistribute them through the events, through the artists. So that's something we could consider. We
I
could
think
take
you
that on,
should.
could take it on board. Yep.
Thank
Any
you.
further questions for Mr. Craddock? Chris, you're a seasoned campaigner and a familiar face at this table, and you're very welcome. Given the Festival Fund is a one-off and an opportunity to do something perhaps different, new, larger scale, I see this application as being moving from your normal first gear to third gear. I don't see a lot of innovation or a spark of something totally new in order to mark the fact that it's a festival as opposed to just your normal event. How do you feel about that? How do you respond to that?
That's why we went for King's birthday weekend, where we thought we'd really try to make something special out of it. So we would market it in that way, because we've never actually done anything at King's birthday weekend. So that's what I would suggest.
Right, the date selection.
Yes.
And then you've scaled up the event.
Yes.
To a larger
we
two
have,
venues.
So two venues, really a really big weekend.
Okay.
That was the plan. Yeah, and again, I can appreciate you're oversubscribed. If you didn't give us the full amount, well, if you give us nothing, then it's not going to happen. If you only give us partial funding, then we'd have to look to scale it down in some way, though. Musicians are very good. If we go to them and say, look, we only got partial funding, can we renegotiate? We could possibly go to the PA person and say, look, we only got partial funding. Are you willing to give us a charity rate or something like that? So,
Right, okay. Any further questions for Chris? No? All right.
Kia ora.
Yeah, Tama.
Sorry, I'm jumping in a bit late again.
Do.
I'm the guy on Zoom. Kia ora. I was just wondering, would you consider inviting any other businesses off the top of my head, like food trucks, to kind of also be there to make it feel more, I guess, more festivally and a little bit bigger, just so whānau can spend more time there and have more to do there than kind of just sit and appreciate?
Yeah, yes, we have considered that, and then a lot of our events now we actually have a bouncy castle for children to encourage families, and also a sausage sizzle. But we could actually expand that to include food trucks. So thank you, we'll take that on board.
Okay, good. Bye.
Okay.
I love that word festivality. It's new on me, but it should stick. I also see, Chris, you're expecting 999 people in your application. I think I'd go just to make up 4 figures. It's a pretty specific estimate.
Yes, when you hit that magic 1,000, all of a sudden you start to have a whole lot of other considerations that come in. So that's an important figure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Any other questions for Chris?
I do. One more.
All right, we'll close on that one, Chris, but stay with us because you have a second application.
Sorry, I did have a question.
Yep, Michelle?
Yes, I did. The old same old. Who have you ever actually got some background? I know you did with one of the bread companies, but have you actually gone to local businesses to support? Because the thing that I get sort of puzzled, and coming back to the PA thing, it's actually in your budget twice.
Yeah, 2 days. We're actually
Right,
treating.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
for respecting me.
the list of
Got it.
the first day of
So
artists.
that's
then
why
PA,
I was upset,
yeah.
because I sort of thought 5,000 and 300s is what, 600. It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
hey,
it is, but
of your budget, and
Yeah.
I get it.
yeah.
PA people, but they always seem to get more than the musicians.
Yeah, yes, and then
It's always annoyed me.
Yep, and it continues at almost every event.
So in terms of budgeting, in terms of sponsorship, have you actually gone and knocked on the door of Mitre 10 or Placemaker and say, hey, give us 10K?
Since we lost Purebred, and of course it changed ownership, and the new owners stayed with us for 2 years. Of course, the previous owner was a drummer in a band, so really supported us, and we haven't been able to find another naming sponsor yet to come on board with us. But we are trying.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again. And Chris, you have another application in front of us for the normal round of grants.
Yes, so thank you very much on the festivals, the one-off. So again, with timing, for other weekends throughout May, we've actually gone to other funding sources for this year, and we have been successful with some other trusts that can support that. So now, throughout the year, the Trust, music festivals and events, we focus on May Music Month, then a Spring Fest and a Summer Fest. And in the past, this group has supported our May Music Month and our Summer Fest, so we thought it'd be appropriate if we could support Spring Fest this year. So again, in September, and again in McLean Park, and again, very similar to our template, we've got the list of artists and the PA. We've put the koha in there, which you invited us to do a few years ago, which gives us a little bit
Yep.
of money there so we can budget it. So we were hoping, and it gives enough lead-in if you don't fully fund it, that we can actually go to supplementary funding so we can come back. Whereas the trouble is, with this meeting being so close to May Music Month, that's why we thought it was appropriate to apply for our Springfest, which would be our next event. So, yeah.
Questions for Chris on this one? What's your wet weather planning, Chris? What do you do there?
Wet weather, so for instance, this weekend we're in Paikokariki, we'd be going to the Memorial Hall there, and if we were in Marine Gardens, we would be going to the Boating Club. We've been very lucky so far. I've always had fine weather. We haven't been to the Boating Club yet, and for McLean Park, it's right next door, so that would be and that's a family friendly environment.
And how long have you been doing these festivals?
For 15 years.
Right.
And then prior to that, it was the local live music club, which I think Michelle was actually part of, and it goes back to about 40 years when it was called the May Marathon. So these events have been happening in Kapiti for 40 years. We picked it up 15 years ago when the local club didn't want to carry on with it.
Well, in the light of the fact you've been going for a decade and a half, I think Michelle's thoughts about getting your own sound system is a pretty good thought, and something you should take on board. Yeah.
Yes, but then of course, yeah, there's ongoing maintenance and all of those sorts of things, but yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Chris.
All right, okay, thank you very much for consideration.
Good.
We'll hear in due course. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay, Sonia here? Yes. All right. Sonia Forbes. Sonia Forbes. Hello. Welcome. Take a seat.
Thanks.
So we haven't got a lot of time, Sonia, so I do urge you to be brief, but away you go.
Certainly. Well, kia ora koutou, ko Sonia toku ingoa. My name is Sonia, and I'm the founder of Poetry on the Coast. I started an open mic event in Kapiti because I was tired of driving up Transmission Gully to share poetry in Wellington City. And so my friend and I thought, we need this in Kapiti. We need poetry open mics available. There is a plethora of poets here, and they all have amazing voices to share. I just want to actually share, because I have run a few events already, something from someone who's attended the events and the value that they got out of it, and why I believe it should be funded to continue happening here in Kapiti. This was from a friend who shared on a social media platform after attending a poetry open mic. She said, last night I had the privilege to do something utterly terrifying with some wonderful local talent. Poetry on the Coast is a fabulous initiative that's been running this year by Sonia Costi Creative and supported by Creative New Zealand's community scheme. Thank you for your prior funding towards this. It's a space created to showcase local poets, as well as provide the opportunity to allow poets to read their work on the open mic. This year for me has been all about being brave and open with my writing life. She says the event inspired conversations about creativity, vulnerability, and writing. I cannot tell you how empowering it was for me to not only hear the incredible expressions of local writers from all ages and backgrounds and the remarkable insights to the feature poet's work, but also to have my worlds collide and no longer be a closet writer. She says, I've come out. I'm a writer openly. I've not only found a beautiful community of supportive creatives that are humbling and inspiring, but it's encouraged me to allow people in my everyday life to see me. This is why events like this are so important in communities, she writes. They connect, create, inspire, and encourage, and the impact is profound and significant. My deep felt thanks to the incredible writers community. I've never felt so whole. To me, that's why I do the creative work that I do with my life, and why I think some funding towards this is worth it in Kapiti. Essentially, without the funding, I will have to stop Poetry on the Coast, because I don't have the funds myself to keep pumping money into it, but I really would hate to see it stop.
Okay.
Thanks.
Questions for Sonia? Anybody?
Not so much a question, just this is brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Kia ora.
Yep.
Thank you, Nigel. You're going to the waterfront, is that right? Oh, sorry, Michelle, you go first. Where you go?
And have you? I've partaken in poetry for decades in Wellington, so I know how it runs in Wellington.
Mhm.
I haven't for a long time, but I did. Do you ever consider? I know it's a terrible thing to say up here, but we don't seem to do it. But do you ever consider a door fee, a fee on the door?
Yes, so what I have offered is a koha, koha entry.
That's different.
It is different. My hesitancy is that I want it to be inclusive.
Of course.
And at the moment, people find it really hard to commit to things. Even people who have said to me, like, yep, I'm 100% there, their
Don't
child
show.
gets sick and
Yeah.
they don't come.
Don't show you.
And so I struggle with the concept of putting a charge on.
I get it, because
but
I've done
I
it
hear you.
myself, as in perform because you want to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes you have to go, God's sake, put a fee on the door.
Yeah.
And it just helps, that's all. Plus koha.
Yeah.
Plus.
Cool. I hear you.
So you're off to the waterfront cafe and bar, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah.
What's their position in respect to the cost? Because I imagine you're drawing customers to them. I would find it surprising if someone sat there all night and didn't perhaps purchase a drink or something to eat. It seems to me that you're sponsoring them. Perhaps they'd
Yeah,
be
so
interested.
they don't charge us anything.
They don't charge
They
you.
don't charge us anything. So we do it on a Tuesday night when they are low and quiet anyway. So our agreement is we can use their space, draw in some customers for them, and they don't charge me for the venue.
Well, generous as that sounds, have you considered they could sponsor you to make it happen?
A great idea.
And have you had that discussion with them?
I have not yet, no.
Okay. You don't know, of course, but how do you think they'd respond to the idea of helping you put this on?
I definitely could ask the question. My prior venue that I used gave me a flat no
Right.
when I did try that, but could be worth another shot, different crowd.
How many people do you think you would draw over and above what they normally draw? How many people would come?
On a good night, 25 to 30 people.
25 to
On a
30
quiet
people?
night, maybe 10
Yep.
of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Perhaps I urge you to have that discussion.
Sure.
But over to you. Any other questions for Sonia? All right. Thank you for coming in.
All right, thank you very much.
Now, we have a change in the order, people. So we'll take Mandy Lynn now. So for all sorts of timing reasons, Mandy can see us now rather than later, so she's very welcome. She is, you'll find her on your list, one of the last applicants in the order that we set them out, representing the Everybody is a Treasure Charitable Trust. Mandy, good morning.
Good morning.
You have 3 applications in front of us. Is that still the case?
No, I'm gonna drop because I hear you're significantly oversubscribed, so I'll drop the mindful stabbing one. So I'll
Right.
just speak to 2 of them. Or is that the one you loved?
No, it's up to
Michelle's
you.
like, no. Okay, well, maybe I can present on them, obviously, and I'll let you guys decide. Would that be better? Yeah.
It's
Okay.
disturbing to hear one of our committee members liking the idea of mindful stabbing, but never mind. But I think we should be clear. Your call is that it's no longer an application. Is that right?
Well,
Up to you.
it's the one that is the new. I guess it's the newest for us, and I know that these other ones are powerful game changers.
Right. So you'll
So-
talk to the other 2 today.
Yes, so I'll speak to the other 2. I'd prefer to have more time on them. So I'm going to start with our poster, which came from, we just had our cast and crew viewing of our movie. And so where's, Tama, that's what it looks like.
It looks amazing.
So there's a film. This whole story came about because my niece walked into my kitchen about 7 years ago, and she goes, "Auntie Mandy," and I said, "Yes, Harper," and she goes, "Am I fat?" And she was 5, and I crapped myself because I did not want to be hearing a 5-year-old make this comment. So I responded as the weird artist auntie and decided to ask all my friends on Facebook who would be willing to let me cover them in golden clay and photograph them. And weirdly, I got 6 people that stepped forward and said, yes, I'd be happy to do that. And it ended up turning into this amazing process. But where we now have had over 300 women that have posed for the exhibition. We have had funding from the New Zealand Film Commission to make a film about it. We're the only documentary film crew that has ever won a Fresh Shorts grant. And recently, this just blows my mind. I'm an accidental filmmaker. This was not, I'm a photographer, but I just won Emerging Filmmaker of the Year in the Women's Voices Now in LA for this project. So, wow, that was unexpected. And we've gotten into 6 film festivals around the world so far and are waiting to hear from several more. But that's all well and good. But what actually makes this amazing is it enables women, those who identify as female, to participate in creating a piece of art that changes the world. And it changes the world. And everybody who's participated, I get these feedbacks from them, and it just blows my mind. One woman describes her life as her life before Bulls and her life after it, because we had a large group that came to a Bulls workshop. It's amazing. And it is the definition of community art, because it involves the community. They're woven into it, and it weaves. The women who participate in this have become part of what's called the Luscious Order of Golden Shield Maidens, right? And they have this secret community. It's almost like a nod and a wink. Yes, we're part of this, you know? And they have gone, and not only do they get photographed and are interviewed as part of this, but they literally make a print. So I was laughing about the clay before and actively getting people involved. Yes, they get involved, but they get covered in the golden clay, and then we lay paper down on the table, and they literally fold down and create a print of themselves as part of it that they can take home with them, as well as the image that's created, and that is becoming a project that we hope to actually travel internationally. So we would love to have Kapiti Coast represented. The Seroptimus Club have written us a letter saying we would love you guys to come here. We want to show the movie. We want to be involved in making sure that we are getting the word out for you. And I will also be doing a lot more networking once we know that we've been invited by you, if we do become invited.
So specifically on the application Finding Venus, has anybody got any questions of Mandy?
Yep.
Nigel.
Mandy, thanks. So, fantastic projects. I just wondering, what's missing for me is I can't find the Kapiti component of it.
The Seroptimus Club have asked us to come and be part, and they will step in. Sorry, that's recent, so that wasn't. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come to present, and that's a international women's group, but it's the Kapiti Seroptimus Club that has invited us to be here.
Have you sort of approaching the Women's Centre?
I have, and that was through the Seroptimus Club. They're well connected and wanted us to connect there, but as I said, it's been a recent connection, so I haven't had a chance to. But usually that's how we, like when we did it in Wanganui, it was the Women's Center that we actually did it out of. Here, that's still yet to be decided where we're actually going to have the event.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else with a question for Mandy on this application? Mandy, I found your applications to be remarkable. You have gained 54 grants through the Creative Community Scheme across the country, totaling $166,483. So all around the country are committees like us who listen to you and granted you money to do the work you do. Why do you think that's been so successful?
Because we're awesome. No, it's. I think it's because I listen to the kids. Tama, I'll be talking later. Tama was actually on a magazine that my students produce. So the funding that you see there is the thing that we're going to be talking about next. And it's because we amplify youth voice. And when people see the actual impact of what we do, it's obvious. We use art as a way of weaving in well-being, and it's a holistic approach to education using art. So instead of just focusing on the mind as schools do, we weave in the heart, we weave in the gut, and we weave in grounding. And it's more holistic, and people sense that. And that's how we've managed to do it.
I mean, looking at the Finding Venus project, very much about body image, self-esteem.
Yep.
Would you first and foremost characterise it as an arts project or more a mental health project, or are they inseparable, do you think?
They're absolutely inseparable. But it is an arts. I mean, hell, we've won international awards for our art. So, whoops, sorry. So and when you actually stand and see the women participating, I mean, it is next level participatory art. And they are proud. They're so proud that they are part of this process, and it becomes woven into their sinews, into their body. It's, I don't even, it brings tears to my eyes every time I do one of these, because you just see the change, and it's the change that arts bring. It started as an art project. Yes, it's blown up to a lot more than that, but it was essentially, I need to show my niece the reality of the female form, because she sees 600 photoshopped images daily. So our goal is to get 600 women as part of this, and I would love to have Kapiti women as part of this project. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to move on to Mandy's second application. Everybody's happy? Which is, we've dropped to mindful stabbing, so we finished the Finding Venus, so it's now the visual poetry jam, is that right?
That's correct.
Would you happy to talk to that?
I am. I'd love to. And first, I need to, where's the camera? I'm going to wave Tama. Get it! So Tama has experienced firsthand what it's like to be involved with the output of this project. So the Visual Poetry Jam is part of Click Happy. Click Happy students united to form a magazine and a media company called Create Happy. And Tama was actually part of a group that was on the cover of Create Happy magazine and a few months ago. So what we do is that we use art and photography as a tool to teach visual storytelling to youth. Now, most of them, as we know, and not just the kids, but we are also on these 24/7, it feels like, and we meet kids where they are, and we use this as a tool instead of them learning just to scroll and consume other people's art. We teach them skills to use it to create their own art. And so it begins with just teaching them composition skills and how to actually unlock the power of this so that they can use it more like a DSLR. Now, my background is, as I said before, I'm a master photographer. This is what I know. Well, photography is what I know, and storytelling that way.
Sorry, DSLR, digital
single lens reflex. Single reflex, yes. Yeah, so it's a, I began initially, I had a whole collection of these cameras that I would bring around, and it felt a bit cruel because I'd go and I'd get them all excited about working with an actual camera, but then I'd leave and they had nothing to work with. So we began to start to teach the skill base on what they had in their hand.
And then one of the things in your application is they then have the option to link with a website, I think, of yours to take further instruction. Is that right?
Absolutely. And
this is available only to people who have joined the program.
It is available mostly. I can't say only because we do accept other artists. And our biggest drive at the moment, and probably my next application to you guys, will be about a further development of this so that we can really tap into Kapiti young artists. But this is a beginning bit. And this is more, I see it as, I find this project works best with intermediate students because they're at that cusp of, dare I say it, when kids go off to high school, it's almost like the crushing of their creative spirit. They get channeled into, it can be. In fact, research shows that from primary to graduating, we lose 11 different markers of creativity in our kids. So if I can catch them at intermediate, if I can hook them and I can give them power to use a tool that they have, then I can help develop them into the artists that we need.
Okay, questions for Mandy on this one? Anybody? Michelle?
Congratulations. I'm pretty blown out, but I've got two things. One is a question.
Yes.
No audience members. So you don't have people come in and just observe and sort of.
No.
Is that a respect to the people who are participating?
You mean which one? For Finding Venus or for...
Your second one that you're talking to?
Okay, the second one that I'm talking to, it usually involves kids. It's a safety thing with the kids because I'm working with intermediate age students. So the most powerful part of it is I'm also working with the teachers and teachers' aides. So I'm training the teachers and teachers' aides in the program and the philosophy, and the students are there as well. But I have to keep that container around them.
And the other question I do have, and it's to absolutely with what Grant just said, you've done incredibly well raising money. Good on you. I really admire it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So, without sounding too mean, why do you not invest your money that you've raised and collected into these things? Or is this...
Oh my God.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. I get
the
it,
money that has been, I wish. We currently, if I'm being brutally honest,
Absolutely.
our trust has 2 months left to live financially. The money that you see collected, yes, that was all burned in me traveling the country in a caravan. I sleep in a caravan, like a tiny little vintage caravan, to do these things. We do not have money to spare from.
So if
from
we
working
were
on-
able to support 1, 2, or 3, which you've withdrawn 1, so 2,
Yeah. Yes.
and if we were able to, and we're only able to give a portion,
Yes.
because you've heard there's not enough money for
That's right.
everyone's wonderful ideas, how would that affect your processes?
Well, it would depend. I mean, whichever one you ended up funding, we would do everything we can to make it happen. Like the Finding Venus, we can trim parts of it, but usually the heartbeat of it and the thing that is most important is the women actually get the opportunity to participate. So we can trim the viewing of the film and the artist talks that come with it, which is the second day of the program, and we can focus just on the art creation. And then look at other opportunities later for viewing of the Kapiti.
Okay, I'll have to jump in because we are running out of time.
Yep.
Mandy, I appreciate you coming in and talking to us. Thank you very much.
No worries. Cheers. Thank you so much. And I'll
Right.
leave these, if you guys want, there are little things. Yeah.
So can I just say to the other applicants in the room, if you can hear me, I'm sorry we're a bit delayed. Various reasons for that, but thank you for your patience. We'll keep moving. Hamish, are you here? Yes. Hamish is from the Zeal Education Trust, as we can possibly spot on your top there.
It's a bit hard to miss.
There you go, Hamish.
All right, kia ora everybody. My name's Hamish. I'm from Zeal Kapiti. Kia ora Tama. It's good to see you on screen. Our application in front of you guys is for a mural that we're wanting to create during Youth Week, actually. So the idea is to coincide with the Youth Week, we're wanting young people from Kapiti to participate in a number of sessions of creating miniature murals that will then be put up as one larger mural inside our courtyard at Zeal. So it kind of has a few elements to it for us. One, it's empowering young people to use their creativity. It's also helping us create a much brighter environment inside the courtyard of Zeal. And we hope that through the participation of these young people, that they will then also see themselves as a bit more of a greater part of our community at Zeal. I think when you can participate in kind of the aesthetics of a space where you can put your mark on it, it really helps to cement your place in that space. So, yeah, we're hoping for at least 8 to 10 young people to participate in that.
Good.
Yeah.
Questions for Hamish, anybody?
I think it's fantastic. I love it.
Thank you.
But you guys are quite, you've been an organisation going for a long time, eh, and doing really well.
We think so, yes.
Yeah. So if we couldn't fund you, could you still do the project?
The
And
project,
I'm being blunt because
Yeah.
you may or may not have heard there's not a lot of money for a hell of a lot of good ideas.
I've heard that, yes, yeah, which is great that there's so many ideas out there. The project will still go ahead, yes.
And I'm not trying to sort of like barge in on that one.
That's right.
I just think it's fantastic and I wish you well. And I know what I wrote. So you've got a lot of your budget was about materials. Do you send some of your young people out to start learning about raising money for your own projects, e.g. go and send them to Mitre 10 and Placemakers and say, can we please have sponsorship with the paintbrushes and the paint and the material? Have you considered that as part of the project?
No, we haven't actually.
I suggest you do, because it's a really good skill to learn.
Yeah.
Just to learning how to, okay, I haven't got any money, so how do I make it work? I know, I'll go knock on the door and say, Mr. Manager, could I please have 10 paintbrushes and 20 pots of paint, please? And we will say, we will put you out in all the publicity.
Yeah, for some young people that would be great. For others, it would be terrifying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They go with the people who can do it.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
And then they see it that way.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's great. We have actually had some funding, or not funding, sort of like help through Dulux. They've provided us with about 5 litres of paint for the project, which is awesome. Yeah.
Hey, looking at your numbers, I struggled a bit. From what I can see, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're creating 10 artworks, each about this big, 300 by 300, and there's 54 hours of staff time involved in that. Did that surprise you when you saw those figures look back at you?
It's not just, I guess it's not just one staff member. There's 3 of us that will be a part of that project, and just a bit of the background work, like getting those sponsorships and picking up materials, and there will be at least 8 sessions with young people in the space, having to be sort of like, I guess not helped, but at least supervised and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I guess that calculation is based on an expectation of time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions for Zeal? All right, Tama, you're good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Everybody. Cheers.
Right, instead of Claire. Right. So I invite Liam forward. Liam, are you there? You're in for Claire Foster, representing Beachside Harmony. Right, 5 minutes, off you go.
Ata Mārie kia koutou, e mihi nui ana I te hui I tēnei ata. My name's Liam O'Shaughnessy, I'm the president of Beachside Harmony Chorus, and I'm here to speak on our application for funding for the Kapiti Choral Festival that we're looking to run. It'd be over a weekend in August, and it'd be offering education and an opportunity to perform in a mass choir to local choirs and choruses, as well as singers in the area. It's an important distinction for access and participation that we're offering it to anyone who's interested, really. It's not, you don't have to be part of a choir or a chorus. The main thing that we're looking for with this funding application is the access and participation. The funding would cover most of the cost of the venue, as well as a koha for our keynote speaker. So that would allow us to keep registration fees for the participants very low or free at this point. Yeah, open for questions.
Questions for Liam for the Kapiti Choral Festival at Te Raukura, is that right? You're at the Performing Arts Centre?
Yeah, so we've got a quote and an agreement with Te Raukura ki Kapiti for 17th of August. So that whole weekend, I believe, is available for us.
Yep.
At this point, funding, again, I hear that the funding is overprescribed. If we weren't to be successful with funding, it would be a much higher risk thing for us to run, and we'd have to increase the costs of registration for the participants, which would, again, probably exclude a number of participants.
Okay.
We've had registered interest from Kapiti college groups as well as community choirs, so a big range in age and also access to funds. So again, with the funding, it'd be much safer for us to run it, really.
I don't know if you have it in front of you, Liam, but there was, from what I could see, a slight disjuncture in your application and the amount of money you're applying for. The application stated that the maximum you could apply for, given your cost and income picture, was this much, and you applied for a lot more. Does that ring true with you? Have you
Doesn't
seen that
ring
in
a-
writing?
It doesn't ring a bell. I have the application here. I can bring it up, but I'm not.
Yeah.
100%
Sorry, Jennifer, would you mind just reading out the figures for us?
Yeah.
Total income was 1,500, costs 700, and amount requested 2,200.
So you identified a shortfall of 700 and applied for 2,200.
Yeah.
So under our rules, you can apply for only an existing shortfall.
Sure,
Do you know how much money you're actually asking for?
I believe we've applied for 2,150, if
Right.
that's correct. And the quote that we've got for the venue is just over 2,000.
Okay.
And then a koha, we're looking to offer 350 as per the application. So
Right.
we've applied for 1,800 of that venue hire
Right.
on our costing. So I'm not 100% sure.
It's not included in your.
Okay. So
I'm
there's a
sorry,
little
sorry,
bit of
Stan.
information shortage there.
Yeah.
But essentially what you're saying is you need a couple of $1,000s to do this work.
Yeah, and we could run it with a partial funding, but again, there's a big risk involved really, because that cost of really the venue and the koha would then look to fall, say, at least somewhat on participants, and increase it.
And you're doing workshops, rehearsals, keynote speak, and performance,
That's correct.
and a mass choir.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Any questions for this gentleman? Yeah.
You go.
Just it's the same thing. It's not enough money for what you're trying to do, and it's frustrating for everybody. But I think your project's fantastic. I love it. You're actually only asking for $10 per singer registration. What if you upped it to 15? Because it's a really good experience, and
Yeah.
people participating have got to pay their way too.
That's true. We have we really have limited overheads. We possess a lot of expertise within the chorus.
Yep.
In terms of the expertise and the capacity to help with running the event. So we won't need to pay for staff to do that. The keynote speaker is really the only outside of our group cost.
Who's that? Because you didn't say.
Yeah, so we're not sure at this point.
Sure.
We're
Okay, I get-
pending the
understand.
funding, but yeah, we're sort of thinking of options within there's a bustling choral community within Wellington.
Huge.
So, there's many options for us, and we're relatively well connected. So we're confident that we'll be able to get someone that is with.
May I ask one more question very quick? Did you people perform up at the opening of Mahara Toy Gallery?
We did.
Saw ya.
Yeah. Thank you, Tama.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
Do you charge a ticket rather than a koha?
For audience members, we would charge a ticket. That, I believe, is down to Te Raukuta Ki Kapiti. They have certain requirements around staffing when you run a concert there for the public. And so we would need to ensure that those things are even rather than impacting on us.
So you haven't actually put that in your application.
Yeah, so
They would run that side, you don't.
for
Is that
our
what you're saying?
estimations, that would balance itself out in terms of the costs or the income from participants to the
Yeah.
cost of the extra staffing and things like that for the concert.
Thank you.
That's good.
Liam, thank you. I just want to try and get the... Tama, you've got a question?
Yeah, I do actually.
Where you go?
Kia ora, Liam. I was just wondering, I know Te Raukuta Ki Kapiti is obviously an amazing venue, especially when you're running a whole bunch of different things at once, but I was wondering how dependent on having Te Raukuta being the venue is the project, just because it is quite an expensive venue compared to a lot of other places around the place,
Sure.
I presume.
Yeah, I would say we would find it very, very difficult to find a venue that would offer us the same things in terms of breakout spaces and rehearsal spaces. We're looking to
Yeah.
have up to 10 choirs involved, and
Oh, got you. Okay.
we're looking to offer up to 3 or 4 classes at once because different choirs are looking to get different things from this weekend. So again, just the fact that there's multiple breakout spaces in classrooms on the same site is pretty rare in this part of the country, really. So we'd find it difficult to find another space.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it's just that matter of the figures that don't add up in the
Sure.
application, Liam. I'm not quite sure how we handle that, but the situation at the moment is that you've in writing applied for 2,200. You were eligible to apply for 700 based on the income and cost figures you submitted. We can take that to our discussions.
Sure.
But what I think I hear you say is the figure you actually need is more likely to be $2,000.
That's correct. That would
Okay.
be an ideal scenario.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Good. Adrian, nice. Adrian, is it pronounced Adrian? Adrian? Adrian, sorry.
That's right.
And it's Risley.
Yes, Adrian Rising.
Great.
Kia ora.
Kia ora to you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Adrian Rising. I am the inaugural artist resident at the Kilns of Te Horo, which is all new, sparkling, started in November or December, it opened. And I'm just come from Toi Mahara Gallery, where I'm just starting to set up the exhibition, which is it's the very end of my residency, is to have an exhibition at Toi Mahara, and this is going to be an ongoing thing, I believe. I have applied for setting up the exhibition together with my a collaborator that I've been working with, Warihana Kiriona, who I found one day when I went to the Tiwananga, and he is a whakairo artist, and we're working on a piece, a fence, an old fence from the area, from the kilns, and he's carving on one side and I'm painting on the other. So the grant is just for the very end of this project, really. I applied for grants from Creative New Zealand for the whole residency, but didn't get it. It was very close, but didn't get that. So this is what I'm applying for, and it's been a fantastic way to get to know the community through the open days. They have 4 days open a week, and I've talked to hundreds of people about the project and about the kilns. But my project is about the clays in the area, and just by looking at the clay as itself, sort of connecting again with Aotearoa. I've been living in Sweden for 30 years, and coming back and sort of coming to a new understanding of this country as it is today, because it's a changed place to how I know it, how I knew it and how I grew up, and learning about things, tangata whenua, really. I mean, that's been a really big part for me, working with Warihana and being able to talk to him, you know, when things come up and saying, oh, well, what about this thing? You know, what about, you know, just for example, appropriation, you know, talking about that. Assigning works. We have such different approaches to ownership, you know, and just so many things have come up, and I just find this is a really unique opportunity. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Excellent. And then you take your work to Toi Mahara?
Yeah,
and that's all arranged, isn't it? You made that booking with Janet and it's all done?
Yes, it's all done.
Yeah.
So I've just sort of come from there now to talk to you, and then I'll be rushing back and hanging it up. And
Great.
Yeah.
Right. Questions for Adrian?
Yeah.
Anybody?
I'd just like to congratulate you. You've broken new ground with the Murex Trust.
Thanks very
You're
much.
the first resident artist,
Yeah.
and it's a wonderful thing to have going on in our community. So well done.
Thanks very much.
Lots of hard work.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be hard to have people coming into my studio all the time and talking, you know, and being disrupted, I thought. But actually, it's been like I've taken a lot of those conversations and just learnt so much, and that's been fed into the work. And so the exhibition is actually a story of all those meetings and all those conversations. I've got little, you know, it's like going through a little story of my 6 months when you look at that. So it's been wonderful. I mean,
Well
it's
done.
really, thank you.
You're the inaugural artist in residence,
yeah.
and your project is linking our two newest art installations in a way, the kilns and the gallery.
Yeah, well, it's bringing in a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I have there's going to be a shelf on the wall that's called the shelf of balls. There's an expression in Sweden, you can't run after every ball. And there's just been so much I could have run after, you know, people trying, what about this, and what about this? I'm going, yeah. And then you just have to choose some things, and then, you know, all the stuff that's happened here could have filled many exhibitions ideas.
Great.
6 months. is
Thank you
short
very
time.
much.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming in, Adrian. Who's next? Anya? Is it Anya? Ah, yes, the mural. Anya, are you here? Is that how you pronounce it? Anya? Anya. Great. And you're proposing a mural.
Yes, a mural.
Where you go, Anya.
Yes. Hey, my name is Anya, and I've been living in Waikanai for the past 7 years. But before I say anything more, I would like you to close your eyes.
You'd like us to close our eyes?
Yes, please.
It often happens in a council chamber, that's fine.
And ground your feet. Make sure your heels are on the ground, your toes, all the parts in between. And take a deep breath in through your nose, all the way up to the crown of your head. And exhale through your nose. And slowly open your eyes and look at this white piece of paper. And whenever you're ready, close your eyes again. And notice how you're feeling. Did anything come up for you? Any ideas? Anything at all? If nothing came up, that's all right as well. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes again. And look at all these colors. And close your eyes again. And notice how you're feeling. Now you're ready, open your eyes again. And imagine you're walking down the street and crossing a big white wall. And then imagine you're walking down the street and you're passing a huge mural, a mural that represents the values of the neighborhood, a mural that represents the spirit and the vibrancy of Waikanai or the Kapiti Coast, a mural that is not only an artistic expression, it's a shared visual experience, and it has the power to foster creativity, to bring a sense of belonging and pride to the neighborhood, and it brings life and color into public space. Yeah, I have been doing some murals around Waikanai. I brought a few samples because that's not what I was planning on doing on the wall. Coffee cart and a restaurant, Italian restaurant. Look at that.
These are all your own work, and is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, just a bit of an example. Yeah.
Right. Well, we've read your application. You wish to put a mural on the Chartered Club of Waikanai?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
In Elizabeth Street?
Yes.
Can
So
I
it's
ask what the position of the club itself is with regard to your idea?
Do you mean what they do?
Well, I know what they do, but how do they respond to your suggestion of a mural?
They love the idea because they are really involved with the community, so
Yes.
they would love to also represent it on the outside and not just in what they're doing.
Yep.
And they're involved with the rest homes around Waikanai. There's quite a few. yeah, they offer bus services for them and get them out into. I think they go to Namanu and other local areas. And
In
yeah,
your
they try to-
application, you said that part of the mural would actually represent some of the community work they do.
Yes.
And have you asked them if they would like to participate in the funding of this mural?
Yes. Yes, they didn't say they would, but it might be a possibility. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I suppose
Yeah.
from someone quite new to this project, if in a way this mural, as well as just being a nice artwork, actually explains some of the work the club does in the community, I would expect perhaps they'd value it and want to participate. But that's just a view.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Lots of people want murals and they love murals, but there's not many who want to actually pay for it.
Right.
So it's a bit tricky.
Okay. Any more questions for Anya? Tanya, have you got a question? Tama?
Yeah, I do. Kia ora, Anya. You were just talking a lot about how the mural will reflect the Waikanae community, and I was just wondering, what is the Waikanae community to you? Like, how would you describe it, and how were you planning on reflecting that?
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's about like planting a seed to be more involved in the community, like to it's about kindness and it's about helping each other, and it's, you know, I feel like people are quite isolated, like everyone kind of goes around the day and there's not much, I don't know, community. So just to yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Anya,
Yeah.
I liked your presentation a lot. Do you have any drawings about your ideas that you were looking at putting on the wall?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. So it's a lot of natural things like environment, birds, stuff like that, but also involving people. And the Charters Club had the idea of a big writing that kind of speaks to
So landscape and people and birds and
yeah,
the
something like that.
environment.
Yeah.
And yes. Okay. Thank you.
Michelle.
Thank you. I think when I saw your samples, your work, it's amazing. Really, wow. Really, and I personally passionately love public art and murals especially. I don't think we have enough here. For some reason, I thought when I read it, I don't know why I've invented words, but when I'm seeing things like kids and teenagers and adults, I assumed that you were going to bring others to help you. Have I assumed that incorrectly, or are you also say the word volunteers?
Yeah.
So what would people, if you do have people working with you, which if you do would be amazing, you would be the director, so to speak, of the style that you want, yes? It's your image.
Yeah, I think we would maybe work together, gather ideas, and then do a sketch, and then
Brilliant.
because you
answers
could
that.
also like do a sketch with chalk, and then teenagers or younger kids can
Exactly.
color it in, and then I can just do the fine work around it.
That's what I was visualising. Thank you.
All right. Anya, it's not easy for an artist to come into a room like this and talk to a whole lot of people like us. And I want to thank you for coming in and sharing your vision for the Waikanae Chartered Club. And as Michelle has rightfully reminded us, we've only got half the money we need. But we appreciate your presentation and you coming in.
Thanks for listening.
Okay?
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Right, we'll move on to the next one. And that's Ruth, is it? Ruth McKenzie? And Ruth's coming to us via the screen, so let's bring her in. Ruth, can you hear my voice? No one's ever answered no to that question. That's not Ruth, that's Tama. Have we got a Ruth yet? What do you think, Jess?
We do have her online.
We have her online.
She's got her video up, so we'll just wait and see if she
We'll give her a minute or two, and I'll apologise again to the other applicants there. We are running a bit late. We knew we would, but thank you for your patience.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
We've got her on audio. Yes, I can hear you. There she is. Ruth, okay, we've got a few minutes, Ruth. Away you go.
Okay. Yes, I have. So we put in an application. 20th anniversary year, and we're doing 3 concerts. This is our first one and our most traditional concert, which being the concert an afternoon with Mendelssohn. As part of this anniversary year, we've attracted back some players that have been
Ruth, can you hear my voice? We can't hear you. Okay, perhaps we'll... Are you able to give Ruth a call and say we'll try and come back to her at some stage, but we won't hold up the room while we're waiting. Okay. So let's... You want one more turn or you want to move on?
Right, can you hear me?
We can hear your voice, Ruth, yes. Should we try once more and we'll move on if we can't get it right?
Okay, so I'll carry on. Sorry, we've got a very bad internet connection at the moment. Okay, so and I've lost my train of thought now. And we've got 4 new players in the orchestra as well for this concert, so hopefully they'll continue. You can see we've made an application for our shortfall, which is going to be around the $4,000 mark. That's really I'm happy to take questions.
Right. Did you say this is your 20th birthday, Ruth?
Yes, our 20th anniversary. So the orchestra's been going for years. Yeah.
Right. And you're going from Mendelssohn to Brahms to light orchestral.
Yes.
Okay.
Beethoven for the middle concert. So Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, a commissioned work by Ken. I've forgotten Ken's last name. That's silly. And some singing as well with the soloists. Okay. And we've got the Cockatoo choir and some Orpheus singers as well.
Great. Questions from anybody? Nigel?
Yeah, hi Ruth. What's the venue? Is that Te Rakura?
Yes, it is. Yes, and we're rehearsing there now too, which is great.
Cool. Thanks.
Right. Any other question? Michelle?
Hi, Ruth. Michelle Scully here. I love the orchestra, of course I do. You haven't probably heard, or you may have, but there's a lot of money being requested for not much money available. So if you were to get even less than half, is that going to help or hinder?
Well, any money is going to help. Right. We have got some savings, but I mean, so yeah, we can make it stretch, but yeah, so just anything's helpful. We're hoping that we are going to start getting better audiences. I guess for most places, the audience numbers have dropped back since COVID, and so we're doing our best to try and increase that as well by offering free entrance to under 18-year-olds. And just tweaking our advertising as well.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean it, but just keep pumping your advertising. Just keep just pump it.
Yeah, we're particularly trying to use social media a lot more because it's free as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions at all? Look, we have heard you, Ruth, even though we had a few technical glitches. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much for your time.
Good day. Bye now.
Okay, bye.
Shall we move on, people, to Mrs. Anne White. Anne, are you here today? You are. Alison Parsons is with her, right. And also Alison Parsons is one of you, Ruth, one of you, Alison, and one of you is Anne.
I'm Anne.
You're Anne. Hi.
Alison along for moral support.
Good on you. Thank you for coming. Kapiti Arts and Crafts.
That's right. And actually just on by the way, Alison is I don't want to say the oldest member because you're not, the longest serving member of Kapiti Arts and Crafts Society that's still a member, which is absolutely amazing. That's been in existence for 50 years. Hence our application for funding to pay for 2 advertisements in the Kapiti News during May to primarily gather old members, former members, to come and help us celebrate our 50th anniversary at King's Birthday weekend. I've laid out what the weekend is. Saturday and Sunday there will be a series of displays of working artists with a sort of come and have a go theme. It's open to the public as well, the general public, and we might even be lucky enough to get some new members out of this weekend, but it's not primarily a membership drive. We want to try and get as many former members, and because some of them are older rather than younger, a lot of them don't have social media, so they read newspapers. So hence a couple of ads in the Kapiti News for people, local people who may know of older members in other parts of the country who they can notify and let them know to come to our celebrations. We don't have any budget per se for this. The whole project is run by volunteers. We're all volunteers. Nobody gets paid. There could be some funding there if we had to pay for them ourselves, but we also need a new roof on the gallery, and the funds that we do have available tend to be earmarked for repairs and maintenance and that kind of thing. So $575 for 2 advertisements is what we're doing.
It's a modest ask. Thank you. Do you own the building you're in, the gallery?
We own the building.
Yep.
But we're on council reserve.
Right.
So we pay a peppercorn rental for the.
Right. And you have a shop in Raumati.
And we have our lovely little shop in Raumati, which has been going for 50 years as
50
well.
years, yeah.
And that's self-funding. We take commission on sales from our members who put their goods in for sale, and the shop is autonomous, pays its own rates and rent and electricity and all the outgoings. At a small loss, I have to say, last year.
So this is a big birthday for you, essentially.
This is a huge thing for us. We think we're pretty good, having survived this long. A lot of places have curled up their toes and gone, but we're the largest, we think we're the largest arts and crafts society in the whole region. We've got about 240 members.
Are you growing?
We hope to grow. We're growing all the time. Every year the membership goes up, and then come the end of the year when it's time to renew subscriptions, we always lose a few by attrition. But overall, we're growing. COVID didn't help, but we survived that and come through the other side. And yeah, as I say, it's not primarily a membership drive, but as it is open to the general public as well, we hope we will get some new members. Last year we had an open weekend, just an open weekend to attract people. We got 12 new members then, which was good, but that's not what we're here for today.
Questions for Anne? Anybody? Michelle?
Congratulations, 50 years, wow, amazing. You must have been 12 when you joined.
No, I haven't been there 50 years.
Now, just because you're asking for money for an ad, which good on you, that gives you, in my opinion, some claret and some carrot and some everything to go knock on the door and get a really good front page article as well. And that's what you should do.
Yes, a sponsored article or a freebie article?
News.
Straight out a piece of news. This is news.
Yes.
This is history and it's news. And if you're prepared, to put in 2 ads, which is fantastic, then go back to them and go to David, the editor, and say which of your journalists would like to do a story about this, because there's a genuine interest in the community. And I'll bet you get a front page article. I'll bet you.
There you go. Alison is actually spearheading the whole weekend. It was Alison's idea. Well, Alison took it on because nobody else would, volunteers. And Alison's driving the whole celebration weekend and got it.
Great.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
Another suggestion, have you approached any businesses in your area to
No.
help you
Not
sponsor?
not directly. No.
No.
It's something that we have talked about at our meetings. And again, as I heard a previous speaker say, it can be quite scary and daunting for people to go knocking on doors saying, please, can we have some money? It's a bit more anonymous this way. I've actually do fundraising for a couple of charitable trusts that I'm involved in as well, so hence my involvement with this. But I'm also the secretary of the arts and crafts as well.
All right. Look, thank you very much for coming in and for sharing. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye now. Right, who's next? Florence McNeil. Florence, are you here?
Kia ora.
Welcome, Florence.
Hi, I've brought Mike Gibson, who I happen to live with, but he's also our treasurer, so...
All right. You live with the treasurer.
The chair and the treasurer. I wrote him in eventually.
Wish I lived with
After years
mine.
of doing it without. Anyway, it's a good thing. Thanks for having us. In short, I mean, you've got all the information in the package there. I think the thing that I really want to just highlight, which is important, is we've applied for funding for our end of year concert, and there's sort of two parts to it. So our end of year concert is our big important thing of the year, where our kids get to perform, and you know, it makes the year make sense really. I mean, an orchestra without those live performances is quite a hard sell, you know.
Yeah.
That's where they get the
buzz.
reward for everything, and get to really, you know, put all their skills into reality. But the second part to that is that we are really looking to, I guess, grow what we offer and what we do and who we reach. And so we are working with a kura in Otaki to kind of initiate a new collaboration. And so I guess what I want to just highlight there very shortly is that the concert is going to happen one way or another, and we really, really want to make this collaboration happen as well. Yeah, so that would be the...
Okay.
I just hope that it was clearly enough in the
Yes, I remember the mention of the collaboration. That's great.
Yeah. So, and to do that well, really, we just feel like our conductor gets paid for his time and his expertise. And as we are initiating this and inviting this group to join us, we wanted to do that in a really fair and respectful way, and say that we're inviting somebody with skills and time and a bunch of kids and to collaborate with us, and that's why we're applying on behalf of them to say we can.
Understood. Okay. Questions for Florence?
Yeah,
Anybody?
and then one final point to that. So the figures in terms of participation that we've put in there, that's our minimum, that's us. So the collaboration, I can't, it's not locked in yet, so I didn't want to make up some number. So that would, I think, easily double what the numbers that we've got. So yeah, I think, anyway, questions probably.
Yes, has anybody got anything to ask with Florence?
Sorry,
Tama, you okay?
Sorry, Flo, is it at Kapiti College, the venue?
No, well, we're looking to go to Otaki, essentially.
All right,
Make it as uncomplicated as possible, and actually reach, you know, all the families there. Yeah, a number of our members are from there as well.
Did you have a question, Tama? Are you good?
Yeah, I've got a question. Kia ora. I was just wondering, what exactly is the Otaki Kura group? You may have mentioned, but I just couldn't find.
Yeah. Because we're kind of, I don't really want to speak for them because it's not confirmed yet. So we said we'll come back to you and confirm that when we can actually offer you some money towards that, rather than you asking you to find that out of your teaching budget elsewhere. I don't saying that off the record, but I feel like I don't want to, I don't want to publicly commit something that they need to speak for themselves. I don't know if that.
No, that makes sense.
If that's okay, yeah. I mean, if we sort of, I guess bit sensitive about that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in. Yes. Andrew Thompson, do we have you here today? Yes. You've got 2 applications in front of us, haven't you, Andrew? And so we'll invite you to speak to one after the other.
Sure.
So let's begin with Santa Crashlands in Kapiti, which
Okay.
sounds unfortunate.
Really?
Yeah.
For the audience, it will be fun. So, Santa Crashlands in Kapiti is a play, a script, a draft script that I have somewhat written, and I would like funding to get up to 12 young people aged between 7 and 18 years old from the Kapiti coast to help collaborate to complete the script. So there's 6 characters at the moment. There is Father Christmas and their secretary. There are 3 young people that Santa meets whilst he's in Kapiti here. And there's also Bad Bernadette. Bad Bernadette hates Christmas, wants it cancelled forever, and wants it done and dusted. So Bad Bernadette actually has sabotaged Santa's sleigh that crashes into Kapiti. Bad Bernadette lives on Aeroplane Island, so she's quite a loner. Yes. So basically with the script, why having it based in Kapiti is to give it a little bit of a local feel, to be presented around about Christmas time, just before Christmas time, maybe in the October school holidays. So it's a script that will be for young people, by young people, presented by young people at Kapiti Playhouse Theatre. So full on makeup, costume, da-la-la. But for this purpose is for collaboration with young people on the coast to write a script, be part of writing a script. They can also audition to be in the play, but that's not a prerequisite to do these workshops. So the workshops are over 4 Saturdays, not consecutively, because some young people go to other parents' houses every second weekend and things like that. So, so over 4 weekends, which is over 8 weeks. And then in between, I'll coordinate all the bits and pieces to update the script and then send it out to them for the next workshop. And also working with Julie Maltby, who does all the makeup, costumes and music. And so Julie will come in as well and talk about what works, what doesn't work, how long music should be, what costumes there could be, what makeup works really well, and sort of give another look at an overall production to help with the young people help write the script.
Excellent. Okay. Questions for Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew, how did the collaboration with Julie come about? Because she's very local.
Very local.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am a speech and drama teacher, and around 30 odd years ago, I taught Julie's 2 children, Charles and Angelina. So we've always kept in contact, and she has helped with most of my shows since then. So I actually just had coffee with Julie just before. Yeah. So yeah, she's worked a lot. She has my makeup bag, and she has a lot of my costumes at her house as well. Yeah. Very handy. Very handy.
Tama, you going to come with a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. Kia ora, Andrew. I'm sorry if I just missed this in your application, but I just wanted to confirm that the kids will have like opportunity to kind of take part in the writing of the script, and also that it will be performed at some point after being workshopped.
Yes. So the purpose for this is for them definitely to have input into the script, for them to modernise the script, make it Kapiti based, give their input, and then definitely to be presented towards the end of this year, hopefully, at Kapiti Playhouse Theatre as
awesome.
A production. Yeah.
That's great. Anybody else? Andrew, do you want to move on to your second application?
Sure. So my second application is to workshop draft short scene plays for young people. So the participants, which is again up to 12 people, young people aged 7 to 18, to be involved in workshopping the short scripts, looking at the language, the structure, different situations, and the workshop will also focus on them acting out the short scenes, working together, collaboration, and possibly looking at a short production if they were going to be presented. So the short scenes are very short. I have a draft of them here. So they're just 2 pages. And basically, there's about 20 short scripts for children. And basically, the workshop is to have them involved in the final sort of saying and how they feel they are and the language and are they of interest to young people. So I have used some of these as warm-ups beforehand when I've done other children's plays. So the cast have taken them, gone away for 5 minutes, come back as a quick warm-up presentation. So now I'm looking at putting them all together within a couple of workbooks to give to teachers. Yeah. So this workshop is working with young people just to see how they go it over 2 weeks. So it'll be 3 weeks and then another fortnight of 3 hours, then another workshop of another 3 hours, and for them to basically workshop them.
And you're asking for $454,
Yes.
and that's the total cost of the project?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Andrew, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Right. And next on our list is Chris Robertson, Kapiti Chorale. Hello, Chris. Come on forward. There you go. Welcome.
Morning. So yes, I'm Chris. I'm secretary of the Kapiti Chorale and representing the choir here today. So we've applied for a grant to support us with performing a concert of Dvorak's Requiem at St Paul's Church in Kapiti Road. So our choir is it celebrated its 40th year last year. So we're a non-audition choir of approximately 60 singers, male and female voices. We perform 3 concerts a year locally, with the idea of giving members of our community opportunity to come together and share their love of music, also giving local and regional vocal soloists opportunities and experiences, and presenting to our target audience quality classical music, and particularly choral works of the European tradition. Our audience tends to be mostly seniors who may not be able to travel so easily out of the area to hear other concerts. This particular work, Dvorak's Requiem, is an epic, solemn work, and it hasn't been performed in the Wellington area in the last 40 years. So according to our director, it's one of Dvorak's most underrated great works. One of the reasons for this might be that it's a 90-minute performance, which can seem daunting, perhaps, to would-be performers. So we started practicing weekly back in February with extra practices at the weekend to help us prepare for a great performance on the day. It's a big sing for the choir and apparently of equal difficulty for soloists and orchestra alike. It was written originally for a 70-piece orchestra, but we are going to be accompanied by a 22-piece orchestra and the organ. So from our point of view, with the orchestra, the 4 soloists and an organist, it's a costly production. The orchestra is formed from local players, together with some specialist instrumentalists from Wellington. The organ in St Paul's it's the only suitable organ in the area. And unfortunately, from our point of view, for health and safety reasons, the church is only allowed 240 people altogether in the church at any one time, which of course limits our audience, because the bigger we get, then the smaller the audience gets. So it controls the size of our audience and therefore controls the amount of money that we can get from ticket sales. So this application is to support us with costs of the venue, media advertising, and printing costs of posters, flyers, tickets, and the programs. We're planning some fundraising for the orchestral costs. Finally, we're hoping to present our audience with a profoundly moving afternoon of music on Sunday the 9th of June at St Paul's Church, and we do hope you'll come. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, any questions? I'm glad you explained the venue, because I was thinking
Yeah.
90 performers, 150 people, how many can fit in that space?
Yeah.
Should you go to a larger venue? And of course, the organ is the
It's
reason you are
organ,
there.
Yes, and I mean, when I first joined the choir years ago, we could use the audience could sit upstairs. It's got an upstairs seating part.
Right.
And now the health and safety rules have changed, I think by the fire department, and so we can't use all the seating upstairs. It just has to be the ground floor, which is then limited.
I mean, the obvious question, I suppose, is can you do 2 performances? But you've got a 90-minute gig, which is quite a confronting time. You couldn't go to 2 performances?
I think, again, it's the cost, because
Yes.
the costs for the...
They repeat?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So.
Any more questions?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes, go.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chris. The the orchestra, or the 22-piece,
Yes.
Is that a local orchestra? Is it not the Capital Concerts?
It's an orchestra that's been put together.
Oh, right,
Yes,
okay.
our
Yeah, so you've put it
director-
together especially
yes,
for the performance,
yes.
yeah.
So some of them are local,
Yeah.
right up to Foxton,
Yeah.
around this area. And as I say, the specialist instrumentalists, it's difficult to get some brass players and some woodwind players from this area for this type of music.
Oh, it's a wonderful performance. I look forward to seeing it myself. And as the architect for St Paul's here, I'm sorry we can't use the mezzanine floor.
Oh, sorry about that.
Thanks.
All right, well, okay. Thank you very much for coming in.
Very much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Now, the Humorous Arts Charitable Trust Board. Jerome Chandrahasan, have I pronounced that correctly?
Hi.
Hi, is that what your name sounds like?
Chandrahasan, yep.
Chandrahasan, right.
Cheers.
Where you go?
So, last on tour are comedy showcases that we've taken to other parts around the country and other places, other cities.
Yep.
And it's an opportunity for performers from all around the country to get together and do a wonderful showcase. What's special about Kapiti is there are so many comedians that are actually living in Kapiti who have been part of our shows at other cities, and we always see them coming down to our open mic nights here down in Wellington and other places around the part. So it's great to be able to have a chance for them to sort of showcase themselves on a big stage at Coastlands Theatre. We've done other venues in Kapiti before. We've done the Waikanai Club and the Kapiti Playhouse, and they were really good fun. But there's something special about putting it in a big space like Coastlands. And also another thing is that the accessibility of that as well, especially audio. Like they've got really good sound quality there, which can often be an issue for some people in busier bars. And in combining that showcase, we want to run this storytelling workshop in the afternoon for young people, because that's where you sort of get that interest coming forward as teenagers sort of getting interested in public speaking and storytelling and comedy. And so having an opportunity to double that up means we've got an event for young people in the afternoon and then an event for adults in the evening, which I thought would be quite sort of an efficient way to run things. And I'm entirely aware you've got really tight budgets. We're very flexible and very creative with how we fundraise. So to give you an example, for our show in Featherston, we got sponsorship from a local hotel, and we had support from the Rural Support Trust in Featherston. So we had like 20 dairy farmers turn up to enjoy a show. So we're always trying to be creative and innovative with how we sort of fund these sorts of things as well. So we're really keen to put on this event at Coastlands Theatre, Te Rakaraka Kapiti, and have this sort of workshop in the afternoon as well to try to engage as many people as we can in many different age groups. And you work with comedians from around the country, from different ethnicities, different ages as well. And it's a really great mixing point. So it'd be great for some of the performers in Kapiti to meet performers from Auckland and Christchurch. So maybe when they go on tour, they've got a contact in that city, as well as a chance for performers from around the country to meet a new audience here.
Great, great. Excellent. Jerome, questions for Jerome?
Yep.
There you go.
I'll start off just by saying I think this is brilliant. Welcome to the home of comedy. Kapiti Coast is increasingly, you should come to the council meetings, they're hilarious. The venue is what's the maximum seating number?
I think it's about
330,
but we always budget on 30%, and we found that 30% seems to be like a really safe number. Yeah. And previously we had about 150. The last show we did there, which was a few years ago, but I'm also mindful economic crisis, you know, I've got to be very careful with how we budget.
Yeah. Oh no, I get that. There's grounds for a conservative budget. I would like to see it full house, which would be brilliant, and a show like this deserves that.
Anybody else? Michelle?
I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong here, but I don't think we've ever had a comedy workshop like this for young people before. So, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I don't ever remember it.
I think we
So,
did
well
do
done.
one for old. Yeah, we did. I think we did
Yeah, I
one
know
for,
you've done
for
older,
adult,
but not
older.
young.
Yeah.
I think
And Derek and
that's-
Mishi, they really specialise in that. Like they know how to talk to teenagers and how to target a
Brilliant.
workshop so it's a certain age.
Brilliant.
And so yeah, they're both very very skilled,
Yeah.
and they're just
Well,
down in
I
Christchurch.
wish you luck because we're really stretched up here. I'm sure you've heard that. You
Yep.
probably mentioned it. But we creative people are very creative at making smelly rags go further than they can often.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jerome. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. I don't think Mark Amery's here. Is he, Mark? Are you here? As no one has says yes, we must assume it's a no. Right. Chloe Willits. Chloe, are you with us today?
Yep.
All right.
Hello.
Welcome back. We have heard from you before, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last year I did my first creative and life writing workshop with youth, so I'm back wanting to do it again because they've asked to continue doing it. I'm just going to read off here if that's okay. So I'd like funding to continue running my creative and life writing workshops. It's an after-school creative and life writing workshop for Kapiti youth aged 9 to 12 that teaches, encourages, nurtures and strengthens the writing of students who show potential in creative literacy. It will be held at the Kita meeting room at the airport, and it will be 8 to 10 students. So it'll run as 2 blocks. The first will either start in May or June, and the second block will finish in September or August. And the background to this is that the workshop this year will cover life writing and journaling for self-expression and mental wellness, as well as character and plot building, short story writing and development, poetry and writing, and working towards a creative goal. So the first creative goal will be the children working towards planning, writing and polishing a short story competition piece, which will then help them submit into the National Barefoot and Young Authors Challenge 2024. And the second goal is, in order to celebrate their work regardless of whether they place in the short story competition, I'll also work with them on short stories or poems about Kapiti, which will print in book format via Amazon Kindle, which I have experience in. Family and friends, community groups and local businesses can purchase the book online, and it'll be shipped to New Zealand on demand. This cuts the cost of needing to cover an upfront print run, and any money raised from the book purchases, bar tax and Amazon admin costs, will be split amongst the young writers. I envision seeing the book supported by local cafes and libraries so that members of the public can read the children's work and creative pieces about Kapiti. This will encourage and teach the students to work towards a creative goal, offer new opportunities while building their skills, celebrate their hard work, and provide a taste of the types of rewards and financial benefits they can work towards as a writer. And proof of success from last year is, as well as students wanting to return and asking me to continue my workshops, I've had parents send me their children's school reports that discuss their enhanced creative writing skills, including one who went up a grade. Another parent whose child had experienced trauma said the workshop has been therapeutic and life-changing for her.
Right, that's very clear. Questions for Chloe? Tama, are you good? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Jennifer?
If you couldn't get all the funding, can you still function?
I could. I might have to cut it to 1 block just because, I need to also make money to pay the bills. So, so I'd probably just have to cut it down to 1 block rather than 2.
Okay, thank you.
It's quite a jump from the last grant we gave you to this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I realised how much work went into it, a lot of energy and a lot of work, and the fact that it, yeah, I want to be able to provide that, which means it takes away from other work, but it actually did a lot better than I thought it would, so I feel like that justifies, yeah, having the results, yeah.
And 6 of the 8 are returnees, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
But one of them couldn't, was maybe not going to be able to come, and that was the one who actually went up a grade in her writing, so she's above her average grade now, because her parents couldn't afford it. So I cut that down, and Kapiti Kindness Trust sponsored her to have a spot. So that's why I don't want, yeah, the families to have to fork out if they can't afford it.
Yeah. I imagine you are very good at what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the highlight of my week going. Yeah, it's lots of fun.
Right. Everybody's happy? Thank you, Chloe, for coming in and presenting.
Thank you.
Sophie Williams from the Star Jam Charitable Trust.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today. So I'm Sophie. I'm the Regional Programs Coordinator for Star Jam Wellington, and I coordinate and organise the 11 workshops across Wellington region, and that includes the 2 Kapiti workshops we have here, the Dazzling Dancers and the Kapiti Groovers. And so I've been with Star Jam for about 10 plus years, but specifically in this role for like 2.5 months now because I moved up from Christchurch. And I just want to kind of give you some insight to the impact that Star Jam, the workshops that we're applying funding for, has on our jammers, which are the young people that we support. So specifically in terms of friendships and like community, strengthening those areas, I've seen a jammer who has struggled a lot with getting up to perform. So we do a lot of performances within Star Jam, and this jammer had a lot of struggle getting up to perform, but there's always this other jammer who loves coming up to perform with him, and so they always work together. But then it came to one workshop, we found that the jammer could perform by themselves, and that was such an amazing accomplishment for this young person to be able to do. Another example is we have a jammer who's about 12 years old, and she struggles a lot with anxiety, and she was having a panic attack actually before her performance when she was about to go on, but she was so determined to do that performance that she just went up anyway. It was really hard for her, but she really was so keen to do it, and it was very brave of her, and all the other jammers up there were very proud of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Questions for Star Jam? Anybody?
Hi.
Hello.
Well done. I know. Samara.
Samara, yes.
So
yes.
I know her, and I know that her work.
Yeah, she's amazing, isn't she?
She is.
Yeah.
So you've got an amazing person there. The thing that I'm curious about is, are you controlled? Wrong word, but whatever. From an Auckland trust. Is that how it works?
No.
So why does it say Porters Ave, Eden Terrace, Auckland?
Okay.
And PO Box, Dominion Road, Mount Eden.
That would
Auckland.
that would make sense, but I think it's a national charity that I work with, but I specifically work. So there's a coordinator in each region, so Christchurch, Hawke's Bay, but so the funding that we're applying for specifically will go to these Kapiti workshops alone, and I think that's stated.
I mean, I'm not being mean.
No, that makes total sense. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Because it's this whole challenge that all of us are facing. There's not enough money for all the fantastic ideas that are coming to this room today.
Yes.
So if you
that
guys
makes sense.
didn't get anything, which I don't know what, because it's a committee,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you should, but it's not my decision. What would happen?
We would have to apply for funding elsewhere. So we entirely rely on funding from grants and donations. At the moment, we're trying very, very hard to diversify where our income stream's coming from. And rather than getting a lot.
Thank you, that totally answers that.
Amazing, cool.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Because I saw this figure of 24 jammers
Yes.
with a total cost of 23,800, which is nearly $1,000 a jammer. Did that surprise you? Is that typical across your picture nationwide, $1,000 each?
Yeah, so that for each workshop, that's what it costs to run a workshop. Now, I will state that I don't run the budget specifically, but what I'm aware of is that there are different costs. There's the core cost towards the actual workshop.
Yep.
There's the regional costs, like so what I will run, and then there's the national costs that come into that.
Right, okay. Thank you. All right, any more questions for the Star Jam Trust? Tom, have you got a question?
I actually don't have a question, but I just wanted to give a huge nahi to you and your kaupapa because I just think it's so amazing. As a disabled kid, while reading it, I just felt so warm because I can tell that you have a very genuine, clear and kind understanding of what it's like to have a disability, which is really rare, even in groups and people who are trying to help. So yeah, I just wanted to give them a heed to you. I hope you're all very proud because it's wonderful work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, that's an endorsement from a polished performer, so well done. All right, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much, guys.
Right. Who have we got next? Sonia Hardy. Welcome, Sonia. You and I know each other well.
We do. Hi, Grant.
How are you?
Good. I'm limping. I have a knee injury, so I
no
will
good.
take a seat.
So the manager of Te Raukura, a performing arts centre that we hear about from a lot of applicants. It's
Yes.
proving to be a popular venue.
Yes, I'd like to talk all the applicants today, and especially those who were talking about their projects that are hopefully going to be on at Te Raukura ki Kapiti. And kia ora koutou, kia ora tama. For those who don't know me, I'm Sonia Hardy. I work in picturesque Raumati Beach at Te Raukura, as the centre manager at Te Raukura ki Kapiti. I live in Otaki, all under the protective cloak of the Tararua Rangers. Thanks for your time today, for hearing me speak about our application for the Creative Communities Scheme for a suite of works, which is 4-stage performing arts works of differing genres, presented as a suite of curated works at Te Raukura ki Kapiti. The plan is to present different and diverse performing arts offerings that are not as regularly seen by or available to our community, to firstly treat, and secondly to further test the appetite of our market for differing works. Whilst Te Raukura does not have a programming budget to purchase work in, this project will be done by making available joint venture presenting partnerships to 4 diverse works, thus minimising the risk on the artists or arts organisations to bring the works to Kapiti to offer to our community for entertainment. As a venue manager, I'm also a producer of live theatre on the side. It's my side gig. I attend performing arts markets and I see a wealth of performing arts works that are available. Last year I did a presenter training program run by Auckland Live. I have great relationships with other performing arts venues across Aotearoa, and I'm involved in a lot of performing arts hui. What we're hearing more and more with is around reduced funding, and actually the future of performing arts presentations is around partnerships, and that's the way it's heading for even previously well-funded venues, presenters, those kinds of things. All budgets are being cut, especially those who are CCOs. Basically, with a presenting partnership, venue provides the venue, artist provides the art, the performance art, and we share the risk and we share the box office revenue with the aim for that to cover the costs. And maybe the artist actually makes some money, but at the very least makes the presentation and their touring viable. Most of you will probably know already that at Te Raukura we operate as a venue for hire model, that works come through Te Raukura, and for the most part they do really well, as we've got an ever-growing performing arts loving community. But these are artists, who can either afford it and can either afford the undertaking and the risk, or they've already sought funding themselves. And Creative Community Scheme is a place where a lot of the artists who come through Te Raukura have received funding from before. Having the opportunity to trial presenting in this way will diverse the offerings to our community and give us the opportunity to further understand what our audiences want to see. Specifically, more theatre. We want to trial more theatre, Māori theatre, Pacifica work, circus and burlesque, quality children's theatre, and of course more music, dance and comedy, as we already have a bit of that today. So you've got the how-to details in my application there. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and thanks for hearing me out today.
Excellent. Questions for Sonia? Anybody? Nigel?
I don't want to at all be negative. I've been to the venue a number of times and I think it's absolutely fantastic. You'll have seen a whole bunch of applications that we've already had today.
Yep.
And in a lot of cases, the most significant cost is the venue.
Yeah.
Right? And I just wonder, given that council put up $1.6 million to the venue, and then we've got performers who can't perform because they can't afford the venue cost. But in here, there's a $3,000 of the cost is for the venue. So you're kind of hiring the venue from yourself.
Yeah, we've got costs that are involved in that. Those costs are really reduced. So we've got staffing costs on top of that, as well as the venue. And what we will have available is our full suite of technical equipment, from all lights, sound, projector, mics, staging, drapes, all of that they would have ordinarily. They are, of which are additional costs to hire. The venue hire costs that I've put in there as well, they're absolutely reduced costs. And we've brought in all the other costs to help bring the costs down as well. Bar revenue, ticket fee, small amount of ticket fee revenue, that kind of thing. It does cost. We've got electricity costs, cleaning costs, as I've already mentioned, the staffing, that kind of thing. For the most part, most of the community groups who have presented today, they're all receiving a venue hire discount because they are community groups, which we do maintain for community groups. Absolutely. We've tried to make this as affordable as possible, and by adding in our expertise as well, which takes a remarkable amount of time, from the event coordination, event management, through to full marketing services and ticketing. It takes a lot of time. Especially for a suite of work across a suite of 4 works.
Yeah, just reiterate, I don't want to be negative.
No, I know, and that's fine.
Because we come up against the pointy end of people wanting to stage events and literally can't afford it.
Yeah, it is an expensive business. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? Michelle?
Well done, Sonia. It's
Thanks,
always
Michelle.
a privilege working with you, but this is not a conflict for me at all, so I'll just state that publicly.
Yeah.
I was curious. I could see what you're trying to do, but I didn't see any actual names. Is there a reason for that? But you've just said theatre, Māori theatre, Pacifica, circus, burlesque and children's projects.
Yes.
And music and dance. So that covers 8 genre.
Yes. There are many genre, yes, and I haven't mentioned names because I don't know if we can do it or not yet.
Sure.
And that's why. But I can in this forum. I didn't want to put it down in writing.
Fair enough. E.g., don't have to name everybody.
E.g., Rollicking Entertainment, who do a wonderful bespoke variety of shows, circus, stunts, music theatre option with their show Messy Magic. We've got Lola and Friends from Ian Harmon, who has a show called The Boom Boom Room, a burlesque show. There's Prima Facie, recently coming off the back of a very successful season at Circa Theatre in Wellington. We could potentially bring that up. I have a couple of shows that could be a potential conflict of interest. I'm a producer, just had a successful season of a show, Two Guitars at Circa Theatre, could bring that up potentially. The Māori Sidesteps could revisit as well as Slightly Isolated Dog, who do works around New Zealand and Australia and internationally. They have works such as Don Juan, Jekyll and Hyde, as well as so Kapiti has a lot of musical
That's
theatre
where I was
already.
heading as well. That's
so,
right.
I get a lot of feedback that people want to see other theatre, not just musical theatre.
I'd agree with that too, actually.
Yeah,
100%.
so I think musical theatre's covered really well. So I'm not focusing on that for this suite of works. But
So your suite of works, what you mentioned was a pretty amazing bunch of titles. They seem to be all out of towners. Is that part of that, to bring it in to showcase to Kapiti, hey, this is what else is happening?
Yeah.
Right.
So at the PANS, the Performing Arts Market Aotearoa that I attended this year, you go to an arts market, people pitch their shows and you take them on, you purchase them. I'm in conversations with venues in Palmerston North, Carterton, Wellington, Tauranga, Rotorua, Hawke's Bay, and we all talk about, wouldn't it be nice to be able to give, we all pick up 1, 2, 5, 10 of these shows, and we all partner to present them. We don't have a programming budget, so we can't buy them. But if we can do joint ventures in a way, then this is a way that we can start to make it possible and share that level of risk.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Explained that really well.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Sonia? Jennifer?
Right, just to say thank you. You're a very confident speaker, and you've got your project across very well. Thank you.
Thank you. My cheeks are burning red and I'm shaking, but
if you can't get all this funding, will you go ahead with all the suites?
Probably not. Probably not the full suites, but I will do what I can to try and make a couple of things work, definitely. We have a wonderful ex-student from Kapiti College who contacted me about doing a show that she's written, self-produced, self-directed and is performing in, Stevie Raquel Meaton, and she's bringing her show Remember Me to Te Raukuta next week. And we are trialling a bit of joint venture risk share there as well for the first time. So it's kind of scary venturing into it, but we're all just seeing what we can do there. And I think that'll help inform things going forward to see what we really can do and how we can get the costs down as much as possible to make it viable.
Thank you, and good luck.
Great. Well, look, from what I can see, Sonia, yours is the only application that I would call strategic. I mean, every artist is after something that they can do themselves. You are more of an agent at large, acting on behalf of all of us, trying to grow the art scene in Kapiti. So, yeah, thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Cheers.
bye for now. Right, we're starting to catch up. Anna Burns from the Shed Project. Anna, are you here today? Oh, we might need a third chair. Councillor Wilson has a part-time job moving the furniture.
What's this number? Kia ora. I am Anna from the Shed Project, and
I am Jack. I am the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz.
yeah.
And I'm Ben. I play the Wizard and the Wicked Witch of the West in the Wizard of Oz.
So we have been running drama sessions with our group is called Light It Up Theatre, the IT standing for Inclusive Theatre. So we've been running drama sessions for just over 2 years now. We started at the beginning of 2022. And throughout that, we have gone through a process of our group bonding and forming and growing in confidence. And we had an end of year show at the end of last year and also 2022, which was for friends and family primarily. And it was like also included the other performing arts at the shed, which is dance and music. So last year we stretched ourselves and we put together the Wizard of Oz, which also included some of the dance and music participants as well. So we just did it for one evening. This year, my intention is to really take us out into the community. We've spent 2 years kind of developing ourselves, and now it's time to share that with the community. So our guys have grown so much in confidence and really joy of performing. And it's inspiring for other people to see. So the intention is to do a short run at Coaster's Musical Theatre, which is just down the road from us, and it's a perfect size for us, a 60-seater, lovely little theatre, really perfect for us. We intend to do a show for the special units at the colleges and other schools on the Friday, with a Friday evening performance for friends and family, and then 2 shows on the Saturday for local families. So that is our intention. These guys can share their experience and love of the show. Would you like to say something, Jack?
Well, our shows are really cool because we get to act together as a team.
Yeah, that's really important, isn't it? Yeah. And Finn, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Well, I definitely enjoy doing drama because it involves basically we get to perform and I love performing. In fact, big time showbiz, that's always been my dream.
Yep.
Anna, I think you've got 4 performances, haven't you?
Yes.
And you've got quite a modest estimate of numbers in the audience. Is it possible for you to do 3 and compress the audience of 4 into 3? Is that going to cost you less? I don't know how that works.
It wouldn't cost much less because we'd hire for a day anyway. So
Right.
I'm doing 2 performances per day. The first day is pack in and set up.
Right, so you'd have to compress the audience
So
of 4 into 2 to make any real saving.
Yeah, that's my estimate. It's a 60-seater,
Yep.
and I've estimated on 50% capacity, which I think is reasonable.
Yes.
And we could, of course, do more than that.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Great. All right. Any more questions for Anna?
I played the Wicked Witch of the West too. Years ago, I was 8 years old. So
Brilliant
I was a lot
casting,
younger
I
than
would
you. But
Brilliant
I was
casting.
cast really well. Lovely to see you again, and congratulations for this.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure you've heard us all crying poor. So it's
Yeah.
what you're asking for is reasonable, but you may not receive. If you didn't receive any, can you still do it? I mean, I want to see it. I want to come. I'm going to come and watch you play the Wicked Witch of the West, and you the Scarecrow.
If we didn't receive any, we would probably have to reconsider perhaps how many shows we did, just cut it down to one day, and we would endeavour to do more fundraising.
Because I love it that you're going into the schools. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Do they give you a fee?
They would be coming to the theatre.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So they would pay ticket price, yeah.
Cool. I hope, we can help you.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Anna? Nigel.
Thanks, Anna, and the actors. Brilliant. The ticket prices, I see it's at $4.35.
That's after
So-
GST, so $5.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering about how you got to that price, that was all. And I suppose because the primary audience is going to be kids?
Yeah.
That's hence the price, right?
Yeah. It's a family show, and, I wouldn't say that we are professional to charge more than that. We are offering, the joy of theatre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you for the work you do, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work you do.
Yeah, she is.
All good? Tama, you okay? All right. Thank you for coming in. Good to meet you guys.
Oh,
Oh, you're a protester.
Sign that the wizard holds up.
Bell out of order, please not.
Very good.
Did you know that the inventor of the knock knock joke got a Nobel Prize? Sorry. That's a shocker, isn't it? It's a little shocker. That woke us up. All right. We're still going, and thank you, Bev and Laura, for your patience. You've sat through a lot of applications. Please come forward and let's talk to you. Yes, that's the...
Hello.
Mandy's done Mandy, remember? That's it, yes, this is the last Kapiti Writers Group. The Kapiti Writers Group.
Kapiti Writers Group. We were the children's writers group, but we have now opened up to all writers of all sorts of writing. So I'm Bev Bunker, which is obvious, and this is Laura Vampire. And I want to thank you so much for letting us come and talk to you. It's been several years since we applied to this group for funding, but we've been operating for 10 years, and we're initially a forum for children and young adult writers, but there's a lot of writing going on the Kapiti Coast, as you're probably well aware. We all writers tend to be introverts, so we closet ourselves away and write. But our group provides a forum for writers to come and talk about writing, to read their writing to other writers. So we support and nurture our fellow writers, and we want to promote literature, particularly in the young people of Kapiti. We've run workshops in the past, and we've had a lot of requests to run workshops for children and young adults. So this year we gave ourselves a bit of a shake and said, let's do it. We've put the project for you in your notes. I don't want to really repeat what's in our application, but we've decided to call this project Curious Tides, and we've selected a group of children between the ages of 11 and 14, mainly because we think they're at a maturity where they need to take their writing and go to the next level, and we want to help them achieve that. We also have as a member of our group, Katie Adams, who's just recently received international acclaim for her fantasy book. So she's published in the US, she's been published in several countries. She's run a workshop for our writers, local writers, about how to get yourself an agent in the US and get published over there. But she has her own children in this age group, and her special area, of course, of writing is fantasy, and we know this is an area that young people at this age are really keen, and they've got great imaginations. So that's why we decided on fantasy writing. We want to give them a chance to let those imaginations fly and take some of those ideas and learn how to turn it into a story. So Katie's going to lead the workshops, and we're going to teach them about how to develop your fantasy world, develop your characters, and follow your story through to a plot. Now, we decided to run 2 workshops, one where they go and learn about the task of putting together a story, and the second one where they come back and they learn about editing. They work with one of the local writers or editors to get their story to a publishable level. So we're taking them through the process, through the 2 workshops. We'll run them in the school holidays. We have put a charge on them, and that's mainly so that the parents aren't just using the workshops to drop the children off. It's so that we want to select those young people who are going to benefit from being part of the workshop. The idea of a publication, and Laura's got a couple of the books, and I think we submitted some with our applications, which we've used funds from here before to help us get through publishing, is that the children or the young people at the end of it go away with something they can hold, they can be proud of, that they can keep with them. So I know it's great to see it online, but it's also great to hold that in your hand and be proud of something. So,
gift it to grandparents who don't go online.
Laura, do you want to add anything to that?
No, just that one of the books that's coming around was written by the writers group for the children of Kapiti. But the other one you'll see is a book, and I tried to do a quick count up, but there's probably about 40 young people who've contributed to it, either as poets, writers, or artists. So that's in the library, and that's and in the their news writing in the schools too, I understand. My only other thing I suppose I'd emphasise is that our applications for a fairly modest budget because we're volunteers really. The second part of the workshop, working with the group on editing, proofreading, and developing their stories. That's us doing it because we love doing it.
Right.
Sorry, just a quick. Will you do an online version as well? So will it be available online as well as the books?
I hadn't considered that,
Yeah.
Nigel, but that's a great idea.
Just
I think.
one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the budget. The money you've asked for would essentially pay for the printing costs of the books, wouldn't it? And you print 200, but you anticipate selling and using only about half that many. What arrived at the 200 figure?
There were two costings provided to us by Precise Print, who we want to use because they're local.
Yep.
We felt that just going with the 100 was not going to be sufficient. We don't know. We're very modest in our sales. So we did that balance and said, no, if we do the publishing for 200, then we want to hit the Christmas market so that we want to encourage our families to purchase additional copies for the kids.
Right.
Right. But we didn't want to have a limit and go back because it's always more expensive.
Right.
And we've been successful in the past.
So the second 100 would be cost recovery if you managed to sell them.
Hopefully you manage to sell them. Of course,
Yep.
you'll manage to sell them. I'm positive about that.
Right. Thank you. Michelle?
I've just recently rediscovered the markets, the power of the market. I've been going up to work and I'm just very new to it.
Yes.
I'm amazed how people just set up stalls and that's where people sell things. Would you consider that?
We would.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was quite impressed last year with the Arts Trail down at Max. There was a couple of writers there just selling books, and I thought, yeah, that's brilliant because I hadn't noticed that before.
Yes.
So I just raised my hand, and I totally agree with Nigel about online.
Yes.
A lot of us do buy books online. I've got a library at home, so I have books, and I'm a collector of children's books.
Oh, great.
So I'm very impressed.
I'm just wondering whether you could increase the workshop cost. I know it's tough.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, you're offering quite an amazing product.
Yes.
And that essentially it's an after school. Is it?
No, it would be through the holidays.
Through the holidays,
Yeah.
school program. So the cost of that is extremely reasonable.
We have as a charitable trust, we don't want to be prohibitive in cost. And we did debate this, of course, and we can go back as a board and talk about it. We don't want to be prohibitive. We've always kept our workshop costs quite low, so we're just recovering what we put in. We don't want to have young people not able to afford to come or parents not able to, but we wanted a cost because it shows a commitment to it.
Yeah,
and so
I'm
that's
just
sort of
saying
balance.
it's a very low cost.
Yes.
You've
And
got
I've
there.
just heard from Kapiti Women's Centre,
Yeah.
who we're intending to use, might not now, but they've put their cost up to us since we put that in.
Really?
So we're,
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Well,
looking.
I definitely think you should look at that part of it.
So it's a delicate balance,
Yeah.
and especially in today's economy.
It is. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else would like to ask a question? Tom, are you good? Yep, he looks good.
Actually, sorry, no, I will.
Yeah, where you go?
I don't mean to contradict what you were just saying there, but I think it's really, really good that the price is where it is. It's great that it's accessible to all sorts of young people. I was just wondering, On the, you mentioned, is it correct that you mentioned that in your application that the students have to send in a little bit of their past work as almost kind of a application?
We do think that's important, so that we actually
Yeah.
have a commitment that they are serious about writing to do that.
So what I was just yeah, cool. What I was just wondering is, what are you looking for in that? Are you looking for skill, or are you looking for other things? Because you did mention wanting to have the students be the people who would benefit from it most.
Yes. We did have that conversation on the way in. Was skill more important than passion? And you're talking about an 11, 12-year-old. Sometimes passion is the most important, and the writing should show that. So that's kind of what we've got.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember passion. I think. Thank you for coming, everybody. It's very good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
We know that.
Watch out for our adult workshops. We do
Yes.
have them. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
And I have to suggest that people do look up Katie. She's a Company Coast success, international success. Yeah. Catherine Adams, and her book is called Tonight I Burn. It's about witches. So a little plug for Katie.
Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Right. Yes, we'll do that. I think I talked to her. Yeah. Okay, we have two other things to do before we go to lunch. Yes, it'd be a good time, but what we have will take a minute only. Is that negotiable? Okay, firstly, Narita will just have a few comments to make because she introduces the report essentially, and she's also provided you with this one-page little summary. And then we move into public excluded. Yep.
Is that something I'm doing now?
Is that right?
I think there's a bathroom, but are we all right for?
Won't take
Can
long.
we hold? No, we're going.
No.
Let's just can we
Let's just have a pause, shall we?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. No, we'll adjourn for a brief break.
If we'll be pausing now, I'm just going to have to go. But,
Yes. Good timing.
see you all
Tama.
soon.